6 aspects of surrender. This story has been taken from Swami Mukundananda's book, The Science of Mind Management. Offering prostrate obeisance to God, chanting His names, worshipping His deity, meditating upon Him. While all these are beneficial, these cannot in themselves be called surrender. One may do all of these and yet not be submitted to the Lord from within. Śharaṇāgati, surrender to God, is not an external act. It is a state of the consciousness, an internal condition of the mind, intellect, and ego. Details of what it means to surrender are explained in a verse that is repeated in many of the Vedic scriptures. Ahir Bhakti Vilās, Bhakti Rasāmṛita Sindhu, Vāyu Purāṇ. The slok, which describes the 6 aspects of surrender, is something like this. ānukūlyasya saṅkalpaḥ, pratikūlyasya varjanam, rakṣhiṣhyatīti viśhvāso, goptṛitve varaṇaṁ tathā, ātmanikṣhepa kārpaṇye, ṣhaḍvidhā śharaṇāgati. We will try to understand all the 6 aspects of surrender to God one by one. The first aspect of surrender to God is to desire only in accordance with the desire of the God. Mirabai, a great Bhakti saint of the 16th century, expressed this sentiment beautifully when she said, "If Sri Krishna wishes me to laugh, I will laugh. If he wants me to cry, I will cry. If he desires to shower his love upon me by embracing me, so be it. If he wishes to kill me using his Sudarshan Chakra, divine disc that Lord Vishnu holds in his hand, I will not object. And if he chooses to ignore me as if he does not know me, I will still not complain. No matter what behavior he adopts towards me, Sri Krishna alone will remain my sole beloved. In this there will be never any change." A dry leaf is surrendered to the wind. It does not complain whether the wind lifts it or takes it forward or backward or drops it to the ground. Similarly, we too must learn to be happy in the happiness of God. The second aspect of surrender to God is not to desire against the desire of the God. A boatman was taking 15 people across a turbulent river. Midway through it, he screamed, "There is a whirlpool in front and the boat is getting sucked into it despite my best efforts. God alone can save us now. All of you pray to Him." Pandemonium broke loose in the boat. Someone began praying Jai Siya Ram. Another began chanting Jai Mata Di. A third person prayed in the boat. A monk was also sitting. He took out his renunciant pot and began pouring the river water into the boat. "What are you doing, monk?" everyone asked confused. But monk ignored the complaints and continued to fill the boat with water. After a few minutes, the boatman again announced, "The whirlpool has moved away. The danger has passed. You all can relax now." Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Monk now began gathering the water in the boat and throwing it back into the river. People jeered at him. "Are you crazy, monk? First you fill water into the boat and now you are doing the reverse." "Please do not be annoyed," responded the monk. "I was only trying to surrender to God." When the boatman said that there is no hope since we were getting sucked into the whirlpool, I concluded that the Lord wants us to die. So I thought, let me help him. That is why I was pouring the river water into the boat. Later, when the boatman declared that the whirlpool has moved away, I thought maybe God has changed his mind, or possibly I misunderstood his will. He actually wants us all to be saved. So let me help him again. That is why I began throwing the water in the boat back into the river. This is, of course, a humorous story, but it highlights the concept of surrender very well. A surrendered soul does not desire anything against the will of the Lord. The third aspect of surrender to God is to have firm faith that God is protecting us. During the war, Duryodhan taunted Bhishma, the commander-in-chief of the Kaurava army, saying he was being lenient with the Pandavas, for he could have easily killed them had he chosen to do so. Bhishma felt insulted, and he resolved that by the sunset the next day he would either kill their foremost warrior Arjun, or to protect him, Sri Krishna would have to break his vow and lift weapons. When the battle ended that evening, this news spread in the Pandava camp. Everyone was sad to hear it, as Bhishma was known for keeping his vows. Sri Krishna was lost in contemplation about what could be done. He had vowed not to lift weapons during the war, but now it concerned Arjun's life. Pondering over the problem, Sri Krishna realized it was midnight. He thought, if I am so concerned, how worried must Arjun be? For it is his death that grandsire Bhishma has announced. He walked over to Arjun's tent to console him. However, he found sounds of snoring emanating from the tent, as Arjun was fast asleep. Sri Krishna shook him awake. "My dear friend, do you not know about the vow made by Bhishma?" "Of course I do, my lord." "Then why are you not worried?" Arjun said, when you are so concerned about my protection that you are unable to sleep till early morning, then why should I worry for myself? This faith in the protection of God is the third point of surrender. It grows as the Śharaṇāgati increases. The fourth aspect of surrender to God: to maintain an attitude of gratitude. We have received so many priceless gifts from the Lord: the earth that we walk upon, the sunlight with which we see, the air we breathe, and the water we drink are all gifts to us by God. In fact, it is because of Him that we exist. He brought us to life and imparted consciousness in our soul. We do not pay Him any tax in return, but at least we ought to feel deeply indebted for all He has given us. This is the sentiment of gratitude. The reverse is the sentiment of thanklessness. The sentiment of gratitude has a very powerful positive impact upon the mind. In fact, it is the second most positive sentiment after selfless love. Thus, to be grateful towards our eternal Father for all that He has given us is the fourth aspect of surrender. The fifth aspect of surrender to God: to see all we possess as belonging to the God. Let us say that someone comes into your house. When you are not at home, he wears your clothes, takes things out of your refrigerator, eats them, and sleeps on your bed. On returning, you ask indignantly, "What have you been doing in my house?" He says, "I have not damaged anything. I have merely put it to good use. Why are you getting annoyed?" You reply, "You may not have destroyed anything, but it all belongs to me. If you use it without my permission, you are a thief." Similarly, this world and everything in it is the property of the God. To remember this and renounce our sense of proprietorship is the fifth aspect of surrender. The sixth aspect of surrender to God: to relinquish the pride of having surrendered. Once a sadhu practiced austerities in the Himalayas. While sitting on a single boulder, after 12 years, he had a divine experience. His heart was thrilled with the divine bliss, and he heard the voice of the God. "Sadhu, I am pleased with your dedication," God said. "You have strived sincerely. Now ask for a boon." "Of course, I will ask for a boon. I have worked so hard. Why should I not ask?" The sadhu replied. God was quiet. He had not expected such an immodest reply. After a few minutes, he began to speak from the sky. "Sadhu, you are asking for my causeless grace, or are you asking for the fruit of your hard work?" The sadhu retorted, "Who is begging for your grace, my lord? I am interested in the fruits of my effort. Please bestow it upon me." God was quiet again. Then, after a while, the boulder upon which the sadhu was sitting, began speaking. O Lord, since this sadhu is demanding to settle his accounts with you, please also settle my accounts with him. He has been sitting on me for the last 12 years. For the next 12 years, please make me sit upon him. The sadhu quickly realized his folly. We can never settle accounts with the God. Whenever he bestows his grace, it is always causeless, and we should never be proud, claiming that we deserved it. Thus, to keep an attitude of humility is the sixth aspect of surrender. The moral of the story is, if we can perfect these 6 attitudes within ourselves, we will fulfill God's condition for Śharaṇāgati and become recipients of His grace.